We will call to order the City of Douglasville's City Council Legislative Work Session for Thursday, November 3rd.
Our microphones are not on.
Invocation will be done by High Priest James Grizzle of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And after that, we'll have the Mayor Pro Tem Larry Yaki do the Pledge Allegiance. Mr. Grizzle, please stand.
Council, let's bow our heads. Dear Father, kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we humbly give thanks to Thee for all who are gathered here tonight. We thank Thee, Father, for the many blessings and for the measure of health that Thou hast given unto us. We humbly pray for our mayor, our city council, and our public safety officials. And we ask Thee, Father, that You would graciously grant them wisdom to govern righteously, confidence in what is good, the ability to work together in harmony, the safety to all those who protect the people of this city, and personal peace and joy in their lives and the lives of their families. We ask Thee, Father, to guide and direct us, that Thy will be done. In the name of Thy beloved Son, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Yaki. I'm not certain. And Mr. Grizzle. For the invocation, we'll go through brief presentations and announcements. We don't have any presentations, so the announcements for tonight are this. If you would please silence your cell phones and all electronic devices so that they will not be disruptive during the meeting. If you'd like to give any comments, please fill out the green form that's on the table outside of the council chambers and hand that form in to Ms. Vicki Acker, the city clerk to my right, with your name and address for the record. And at the appropriate time, we'll ask that you, if you'd like to give any comments from citizens and delegates, please feel free to come to the microphone, thank you, to the podium, and thank you so much, give your comments to the mayor and council. We'd be happy to receive them from you, but we would ask you to refrain from any personal attacks on staff or elected officials. So having said all of that, we'll move on with our agenda this evening. The first committee is Public Safety Committee, and that is chaired by Councilmember Mayor Pro Tem Larry Yaki.
Yes, I have one item. Adopt an ordinance amending various sections of Chapter 90, Article 3, Record Services of the City Code to require an annual permit for all approved record services and a city-issued identification card for the drivers of all such permit holders. Who's going to carry that for us? Okay. Chief?
Mayor and Council, I have with me tonight Captain Brad Stafford. We spoke with the council about changing some of these ordinances to strengthen our record service ordinance. So Captain Stafford will be going over some of the changes that we have got with legal staff, and these are the things that he's going to go over that we request that will strengthen our record ordinance.
Good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
As you know, there's several ordinances that we have that deal with how we regulate the list record services. The bulk of these changes aren't big changes. Historically, they went through planning and zoning and then through code enforcement to be regulated. So we've changed that verbiage to say it will be regulated by the police department now. That very minor changes. The bulk of the change comes that they will have to make application to be on our list record service each year. They'll pay a small fee, $50 fee for that. They will get an identification card. They will have their history, criminal history and driver history of all their employees that will be operating the records. That will take care of all those. The other thing it does, it gives us fresh information every year about who it is that's operating these record companies and the drivers that they have working for them, and make sure that they have a decent driver history. They're not violent felons that may be taking people home and so on after an accident and so on. So we made those changes. We really didn't make major changes to the fees that they're charging or anything like that. We made one change that said they couldn't charge for the first 24 hours, which is in line with what the Sheriff's Department does as well. Prior, I used to say 12 hours, now we say 24. We had some complaints on some of them for doing certain things. We added some verbiage in the ordinances to try to make sure it's clear to them what they can charge for and what they cannot, where they can't tow the cars back to their house, they have to tow it to their wrecker lot. Certain things like that. And when we've met with them, some of them said they had some confusion about certain issues, so we just tried to make the language very clear. I do have a synopsis of these proposed changes I just put together. I know I'm going to get in trouble because it's not one of your attachments, but I'm happy to come up there and hand these out. If you want to look at them, there's about 10 items on there specifically that we changed, but I think I've gone over the main changes. It's the application and application fee. Then once they have all their paperwork together, we'll take a photograph of them, put together an actual plastic identification card that they'll have to wear with them when they're towing for the city. And we will go out and inspect their yards and their equipment and make sure it falls within the ordinance parameters. And if it does, then their permit gets approved and they're good throughout the next year. Does anybody have any questions about any of those things?
I do.
Yes, sir.
So throughout the year now, when they get like a new driver, is that going to? They're going to have to get a permit to have that driver, and then that's when you're going to do your analysis on that particular person to make sure, or background check or whatever,
Right.
to make sure that they're a safe person.
The way and this is the application that I've come up with, they won't have to reapply. There's just a one-page form for a new driver.
Okay.
And that's the only time we'll charge them an additional fee is if they come in the middle of the year with a new driver, we'll charge them $25 for the to run the background check and to give them a new driver permit, and we'll just put it in with their application packet. They're required already by ordinance to notify us when they have a new driver or a change and so on. But the bottom line is they don't always do it. And now at least once a year, we're going to know who's working for them and who's not, and we'll have a better idea what's going on.
Good.
Mr. Chairman.
Sure, go ahead.
I haven't looked at Chapter 90, but I'm kind of familiar with this. How is the selection process? Let me rephrase. Is the selection process covered by Chapter 90?
Yes, sir. I mean, it explains what they have to have as far as equipment, a yard, how far it can be. I think it's a mile from the city limits, 3 different types of trucks. So yes, it's listed in there and has been. There's no changes to that section, to those sections.
How many tow truck companies are we working with right now?
6.
Is that a maximum on that, or?
We have a policy at the police department, we won't have more than 6. And the reason, number one, they complain because they don't make as much money when there's more. It also creates a problem with us where we have to create the schedule and keep up with them and go out and inspect them and do these other things. So we want to try to keep it down. We've had the 6 that we have now have been with us for many years and so on. So that's the number that we're at. And what we'll do is, if anybody else meets the statute and they make application and their application qualified, we'll put them on a waiting list. What's probably going to happen now that we're regulating them a little bit more is some of them are going to get dropped off because they're not going to comply.
Okay.
And when that happens, then we'll move the next person in and we'll just keep going with 6.
Okay.
That's one reason why we're starting this, because we hadn't been regulating them. And we're gonna start regulating, and they'll probably be coming before you, because once I deny them, then their recourse will be to come before the council. So, and then that'll give other record service opportunity to get on the list. But, right now, we heard from our citizens making complaints. So we're gonna streamline it, and we're gonna make sure these complaints that we don't receive them anymore.
My plan is if you all approve these changes, that I will set up a meeting with all of them. We'll sit down, we'll talk about the new ordinances, give them a copy of them, explain to them the new application process, and walk them through it this first year. And this first year, we're going to try to make sure everybody gets and stays in compliance. And then when they come next year to make application, then if they don't comply, then we'll move on to the next one, or we'll have 5.
Sounds good. Very good. Any other questions?
Yes,
Mayor.
Mr. Chairman, I was going to say, Captain in Chief, so the record services now, there are 6 on the list. You all will do an evaluation to see how many people will stay and see whomever, if someone were to move up on that list. But how the processes are now is that one service is on and you rotate every weekend.
Weekly.
And so they'll have an opportunity to come on every month and a half. And then if you call that service that's on call for that weekend, if that record service is not available, you go to the
Next
backup.
one on the list.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's
That's
just
how-
so
that'll
everyone has an
continue.
opportunity.
Yeah, we won't change that. That's part that's in the ordinance, that's how it works. Now, they can't call somebody else and say, well, no, my buddy's towing for me.
Right.
And it doesn't work.
Sounds like a very fair process. Okay, thank you.
I have a
Any other
question.
questions?
Yes, I
go
have a
ahead.
question, Mayor Pro Tem. You pretty much answered the question. You stated that you have not met with the record companies prior to the ordinance change. So after this is looked upon and if it's voted on Monday, then your next process is to meet with them. How soon? And then this will take effect the beginning of 2017?
Yes, Ms. Danley, we're going to meet with them within the next week is my hope, because I do want to get them through this process and
Right.
by the end of this year, so they all have permits and they understand what the ordinances are going into 2017. So
Okay.
yeah, it'll be as fast as I can get them in a room to get this done, because we're going to get it done this year.
Right. Thank you.
Ma'am.
Are there any other questions or concerns? Okay. If not, is it okay that I go ahead and put this on the consent agenda? Okay, very good. Thank you. That's all I have for public safety. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. We'll move on to Community and Economic Development Committee, and that's chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have one item tonight under Community and Economic Development. That is adopt a resolution amending previously adopted resolution RES 2016-23 to add Scannell Properties number 244 LLC as a beneficiary of the time-limited performance-based ad valorem property tax incentive previously approved for the benefit of Key Distributors LLC.
Mr. Chairman, if you remember, this is a long, ongoing project that the Development Authority has been working with. We do have the Development Authority's legal counsel, John Grinnell, here. He will come up to present what's before you, but you have heard about the Cahey project before, and if Mr. Grinnell would go up to the podium, he'll talk about the project.
Thank you very much, sir. Would you please state your name and address for the record?
John Cornell, 3648 Kingsborough Road, Atlanta, Georgia.
Thank you very much.
And I have had the pleasure of serving as counsel for the Development Authority, I guess, 5 years, 6 years, something like that. This is pretty simple, really. You adopted a resolution on the 20th for the Cahey project. It turned out after we adopted that resolution, we learned that the Cahey project really had 2 pieces, that they wanted to separate it into a real estate piece and an equipment piece, which is not unusual. You've seen that with Gordon Foods, same concept. But we have a resolution that only uses the word or the name Cahey. So we need a resolution that mentions both entities, and that's all this does. And the rest of it is a lawyer's way and a long-winded way of making it clear to some person who 3 or 4 years comes along behind me and tries to say, what happened?
So basically, we don't have any additional property involved. We don't have any additional people involved other than 2 within the same organization, 1 for property, 1 for equipment.
Correct. And same performance standards and the same maximum amount of bonds, which is the maximum. The bond amount is really the maximum of property tax abatement, the property for which they can get property tax abatement. So everything the same, we just needed to add a name.
No other changes.
No other changes.
Okay. Any question? Council?
Mr. Chair.
Yes, ma'am.
How are Scannell Properties and Cahey Distributors associated?
Scannell is preferred developer, real estate developer for Cahey. So Cahey is a specialty food distribution company that's going around the country, actually doing quite well, it appears. And Scannell builds the building and leases it to them. There's a triple net lease, so the taxes pass down to Cahey. So that's the reason.
Yep.
They're your two components then.
Well, it's all, I mean, at the end of the day, Cahey is the beneficiary of all this, but technically, the real estate will be owned by Scannell, and Scannell will lease it to Cahey.
Understand. Other questions? Public comment of any sort? Any other questions? Okay. We'll bring this up on Monday night then for a vote. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
That's all that I have, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We'll move on to Parks and Recreation Committee, and that's chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts. Oh, I apologize. Planning and Development Committee, that's chaired by Councilmember Mark Adams.
No business tonight, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Parks and Recreation Committee, and that is chaired by Councilmember Chris Watts.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have no business in Parks and Recreation tonight.
Thank you, sir. Finance Committee, that's chaired by Mayor Pro Tem Yaki.
Yes, I have two items. Authorize the mayor to sign a software lease and service agreement with Bellafuel and Czar and Associates Incorporated for administrative and finance computer software for City Hall. Ms. Callen. Name and address.
Karen Callen, Finance Director, 6695 Church Street, Douglasville, Georgia, 30134. The city's finance department and the IT department, we work together to vet out 2 software providers for the city. There are 3 major providers in this industry: Munis, which is a Tyler Technology product; BS&A, which is Belfoy, Czar and Associates; and New World, which has recently been purchased by Tyler Technology. So that narrowed it down to 2. Back in March and April of 2016, James Grizzle, our IT director, coordinated demonstrations by both companies. Members from various departments interviewed and participated in the demonstration of both of those. We also called and checked references of each of the software providers. BS&A had the best response as far as customer service and problem resolution, which is what we feel contributes to some of the issues we're having right now with one solution. Also, BS&A came in at $59,000 less than Tyler Technologies. So we are making the recommendation to go with BS&A.
Any questions from the council? Mayor? Okay, thank you very much. And I'd like to go ahead and put this on the consent agenda if anybody has a problem with that. Obviously not. Okay, we're going to go. Thank you. All right, my next item, adopt an ordinance to enact subsection 26-3E of the Businesses Ordinance to provide a payment deadline for regulatory fees and to revise subsection 26-11A concerning due dates and late fee interest due for payments of occupation tax. We discussed this during our, come ahead. We discussed this during our committee meeting, and just to give us a little bit of input, Mr. Kelly, and so that the audience can understand what we're talking about here.
Yes, sir. I'm Sergeant Wayne Kelly with Douglasville Police Department, 2083 Fairburn Road, Douglasville, Georgia, 30135. What we want to bring before the council, we're proposing changes in the business license ordinances areas 26-3 subsection E concerning regulatory fees, changes in those, and 2611 subsection A, and that concerns late dates and late fee and interest payments due for non-payment of occupational tax. What we originally had discussed, myself and Director Callen, we wanted to clarify in the business license ordinance when people had to have their license and what date constituted a late fee. We had certain businesses over the years have mistaken the way the ordinance read and took it to mean March 31st, which was the date for a late penalty assessed if you did not get your business license, to mean that they didn't have to get a business license until March 31st. So what we wanted to do is put some clear language in there that says you have 30 days from January 1st, which is when you're supposed to have your business license in any event, but we're giving you 30 days to get your business license without citation, without penalty. If you don't have it by then, code enforcement will be going out, and you can be given a citation for not having your business license. The March 31st date in which late fees are assessed, we still keep. That's not going to change. However, what we did add in there is that in addition to the 10% penalty, if you don't have your business license by March 31st, you'll be you will accrue interest on that at 1.5% per month, and that starts from January or February 1st. The other concerning regulatory fees, I believe Ms. Littlefield had talked to you about that earlier, that for peddler's license and things of that nature, that's changing as well, and I would defer to her.
As I stated, peddler's fees and other regulatory fees have to be paid before the business starts, and the only exception is an emergency that occurs where someone needs HVAC work done during the weekend, and the service provider's not already licensed.
Corporal Kelly, thank you for that. And are there any questions from the council? We had quite a lengthy conversation in committee on this, and I think we're all okay with it.
Thank you,
So
sir.
thank you very much. And I'd like to go ahead and put this on the consent agenda also. And that's all I have for the Finance Committee.
Thank you so much, Mayor Pro Tem. We'll move on to Information and Technology Committee, and that's chaired by Councilmember Richard Segal.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have one item. Authorize the mayor to sign a First Amendment to the city's equipment lease purchase agreement number 23947 and related documents with Motorola Solutions Incorporated to correct the effective date of August 15, 2016 to become August 30th, 2016. If you remember back in August where we approved this agreement, this is the equipment that links us with Cobb County. The mayor signed it and dated it August 30th. The effective date in the agreement was the 15th. So this just amends it so that the effective date is the 30th, the date that it was signed, at the request of Motorola. They just want to make sure it's a housekeeping thing, really. And if you want to look at page 47 in our deck, there's a letter from Ms. Knight that explains it. And if Mr. Grizzle wants to add anything to that.
No, sir, you covered it quite well.
Any comments or questions from mayor and council?
I signed it when I was given it to be signed.
Well, if there's no objections, we'll go ahead and put this on the consent agenda for Monday then.
Sounds good.
And I have no other items, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, Mr. Segal. Moving on to Maintenance and Sanitation Committee, and that is chaired by Councilmember Mike Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Maintenance and Sanitation Committee, we have one item tonight, that is to authorize the mayor to sign 4 governmental regulated LED road lights authorization agreements with Georgia Power Company, terminating the city's continuing cost for removed non-LED fixtures and establishing the continuing cost for the newly installed LED fixtures. Mr. Greg Roberts is going to address this for us.
Yes, Greg Roberts, Director of the Maintenance and Sanitation Department, 8578 Club Drive, Douglasville, 30134. And we had this discussion in the committee meeting for our residents that might view this on City TV. Basically, if at your home you get a Georgia Power bill, the street lights on your street will be converted to LED in the coming weeks and months. So starting within probably the next month with this approval tonight or Monday night, probably by February, March, that project should be complete. It'll probably take about 3 months to get it complete, and hopefully they can get it quicker. It will be dependent on weather and other circumstances that affect the power company and their contractors. But you will see, if your home has a Georgia Power bill, you will see Georgia Power contractors in your neighborhood, and that's what they're doing, is swapping those street lights over.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Is there any questions or comments from the council? Or Mayor?
Yes, I do. Thank you. Do they have any idea where they're going? Do you have any idea where they're going to start first? You know, like a.
What I'm hoping is they're going to dedicate a contractor pool, and that will make that timeline much quicker. So they would probably just take, for example, a subdivision like Arbor Station. They would probably just attack it. They would be on several streets at one time. That's what I'm hoping, but that does depend on getting some of those contractors out of the areas affected by the recent hurricane. He did mention that, and so getting those contractors back off of those jobs and back into this operation would probably weigh heavily on how many boots on the ground they get here.
Sure.
Mr. Roberts, I'm sorry.
And it's going to be a significant change. I think the lighting itself is. I think the citizens will see a significant change in that whole process with using the LED lights. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. For anybody that's used even LEDs at your home or even on your car, the newer cars have it. It's a brighter light. It's more of a daylight time, a real-time daylight look. So it won't have that yellowing effect that a typical street light has. It'll look more like it'll be a bright white light like daytime.
Right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
You don't know if the sidewalk light contractors are on their approved list, do you?
Didn't follow you.
The sidewalk light contractors that put our sidewalk lights in?
Oh, that is a separate operation.
All right. Any other questions or comments? All right, that's all we have, Madam Mayor. We've gone over this with the Georgia Power Company and also in committee. So I'd like to ask that we place this on the consent agenda for Monday night.
Very good. Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you so much. Is that all you have, Mr. Miller?
I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, that is all we have. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll move on to Transportation Committee, and that's chaired by Councilmember LaShun Burr Danley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Two items under transportation this evening. The first item is authorize the mayor to sign an amendment to the city's contract with Miller Architectural and Planning Incorporated for selection and design of an alternative fountain for the Welcome Center TE grant CSTEE-0000-10728 for a consultant redesign fee of $9,000. Oh no.
No.
Can you explain?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Michelle Wright, Planning Director, 6695 Church Street, Douglasville, Georgia. As you know, we have made a change to the fountain for the Welcome Center Plaza T grant, and we will have to submit plans to GDOT and do a change order in order to do the change to the fountain that we have actually chosen out. However, this will be coming within budget so far. This change order and the cost of the change order will be coming within our budget.
So, Ms. Wright, what we had discussed prior to in regards to the fountain and at the on the plaza, this was all discussed. So this dollar amount is a change order that we've discussed. It's under budget. Am I hearing you say that?
Yes,
Okay.
yes. As you know, we have chosen an alternate fountain.
Yes.
And now we will have to submit that with a set of plans to the Georgia Department of Transportation.
Okay.
And this is with the new fountain that we have chosen.
So this is not going to alter the dates of the construction too much, right?
No, no.
Yes. Okay. We don't want to go back to square one. All right. Are there any questions or comments in regards to the first item? Mayor, Council? Yep, Madam Mayor.
Yes, ma'am. So, do we have a line item for redesign fee? Or you're just saying this is part of, is if we?
No, we're
now-
taking it out of our preliminary engineering fee, and we have not used all that money up as of yet.
So we're redesigning a prefab fountain? From my understanding, the fountain is like a Lego set. I mean, it's already, you just bring it together and connect it. So is $9,000 to change it from one prefab fountain cast to another prefab fountain?
Well, part of that fee is for going through the process of choosing the fountain, and then we have to submit a set of plans to Georgia Department of Transportation.
Okay. It seems like a lot.
Mhm.
Okay.
Politics at work. I did have a question. Excuse me. Now it just dawned on me.
Senior moment.
Senior moment.
Allowed.
The question was, we were supposed to start construction like the first Monday after the chili cook-off, and I guess now it's been changed to another week, I believe.
That is correct. It might be up to 2 weeks. What we're looking at is the Water and Sewer Authority would like for us to put a detention facility underneath the plaza out near where the fountain is now. That detention facility will cost approximately $109,500. In order for us not to do that, we have been negotiating with them, and what we'll be doing is providing impervious surfaces throughout other areas of the plaza, and right now we are working on that and making those arrangements so that we don't have to do the detention facility. It will also put money back in the budget where we can do some alternates, add alternates that are possibilities for the project.
When will we have exactly what that impervious service is going to look like in regards? Because I had some conversation with Terry Miller and Paul Laster, and we were discussing that. And do you know what they came up with?
Yes, I do. We're meeting in the morning with Greg Roberts and the engineer and the consultant to look at the different areas that we can put in the pervious surfaces, and we're looking at a couple of areas in Plaza West and Plaza East, and we've been told by the Water and Sewer Authority that that would be acceptable. And basically what we're looking at is maybe some lineal strips areas that should not affect either one of those plazas or the walkways or anything like that. Should not affect them.
Okay, so the original plans then for the plaza stay basically intact?
Yes.
Okay, which is pretty much a flat concrete surface going from one street to the other.
That is correct.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Danley, I did have a question or comment, if I might. Thank you very much. Ms. Wright, are we then going to be required to do a redesign if we leave out this underground storage facility as far as hydrology and water?
We will be required to do a redesign and submit it to Georgia Department of Transportation. However, the $109,500 are already in the project now. If we go ahead and eliminate that and do a redesign, let's say it costs something similar to what we're looking at tonight, it'll be a lot less money because we're actually saving $109,500. There will be some other aspects to the project. However, we are hoping that if we can save some of this money, that we might be able to look at doing something at the Welcome Center. Possibly, if we can save some of the money, we don't have prices in yet, but maybe we could put the roof on the Welcome Center instead of doing the detention, underground detention.
Basically, that is something that you're calling an add alternate that we might be able to add back from the original project that had to be removed.
Yes.
That being work at the Welcome Center.
As it stands now, and I'm not sure if I made this clear, the detention pond is in the project now for that amount of money.
Which is part of the 600,000.
Yes,
Yes.
and we feel that's a lot of money. 109,500 is a lot of money. When we're actually putting a drainage system in it also, that it is draining it coming down the center of the project. And so, and this is due to the impervious surface. And so if we can provide pervious surface elsewhere, then we can save that amount of money. However, there probably will be possibly a fee for a change order to Georgia Department of Transportation, and we will have to provide the information to the Water and Sewer Authority.
It's just unfortunate that they were not willing to work with us, or we did not know they were willing to work with us before this design came about, so that we could possibly eliminate it up front, because that is a system that you will never see again.
Right.
And people, including myself, don't have an appreciation of $109,000 hidden underground, because we're required to do that, when really all we're doing is we're changing the look of our plaza. It's the same plaza, it's the same amount of property, and I for one appreciate you working toward that end.
And also, we still have the same amount of impervious surface.
Yes, that was my point.
And
thank you.
so, but it is a new regulation that has come in the last year or two. And that's why we're having to look at that. Even though we're tearing up pavers that are impervious and putting down a like material that is impervious, they do have that regulation. So.
Right, and it's probably something that the citizens don't know, and that we have one of those right here on our property here. Out there in front by the clock tower, there's an underground vault which retains water. And I believe that was built there for the conference center. We had to have that.
That is
there.
correct. There is.
So that's again a big pile of money that you never see. So very good. Okay, thank you.
Councilman Miller?
My concern is, we're kind of changing this focus, in my understanding that the redevelopment of the plaza is kind of before me. And my understanding is that part of the changes came from some water problems that were affecting surrounding buildings.
Correct.
So I'm just concerned that, that moving away from the water storage facility to more of a pervious service substitute for that could cause further problems. Have we looked at that, or?
Oh, we still have the drainage system in place that we were actually draining from the West Plaza down to the Irish Bread Pub, and there's a system in place to prevent that. Now, throughout the whole plaza, the system will go inward and take all the water off. So that problem is addressed. The detention facility has nothing to do with that.
Okay,
that
great. Thank
still
you.
will be addressed.
I just wanted our, property owners around there to understand that that's a solution that's still within the plan. Thank you.
Okay, Mayor
Yes, ma'am,
Robinson?
I have one other comment. Thank you so much, Madam Chair. Ms. Wright, so in the same line as Councilmember Miller said, so the Robinsons did send a letter in regards to the construction that was going to be going on the plaza. So Ms. Littlefield or Ms. Wright, will it affect their properties, or are we aware of that? Have we responded to them, or this will not be in?
Ma'am, we've not responded yet, but we are working on that matter.
Okay.
We will get them a response at some point. Right now, we're still working on protecting that property.
Okay.
And how that'll be done.
I just want to make sure, okay, so
Yes, ma'am.
we are aware of it, and hopefully that will encompass all of those adjacent properties, as Councilman Miller mentioned as well. Okay, thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, Councilman Watts? Okay. All right, well, we have diligently worked on this for quite some time, and Michelle, I just want to say to you, it is staff such as yourself that make a big difference, staying on top of every little piece to make sure that we understand what's going on, as well as our other staff and our business owners. So thank you so very much for your diligence. Do we have any other questions or comments in reference to the item A? Okay. I will not put this on the consent agenda in the event that after your meeting on tomorrow, there may be something you'd like to bring up on Monday. The second item is to adopt a resolution concerning the 2016 holiday signal timing on Chapel Hill Road and Douglas Boulevard designed to facilitate safety and the flow of traffic in the part of the city of Douglasville, including selections of the engineering firm to be responsible for this project and authorization for the mayor to sign the necessary agreements with said firm and with the Douglas County Board of Commissioners. Is that also you, Ms. Wright?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Once again, we're putting into place our holiday traffic plan. It will be with the same engineer that we used last year, which is our engineer with AECom, with the traffic analysis being done by Wilburn Engineering. It's pretty much the same as last year. I provided you in your agendas the contract from last year. The price is almost the same as last year, and we will be putting that in place. It will cover 12 lights, 7 being a portion of the county. The county did do this with us last year, and we billed them and they did reimburse for 7/12 of the project, and we do have 5 lights within the city limit, which we will be paying for, which is 5/12 out of that project.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions or comments? Do we have the lights and the locations identified, Ms. Wright?
Yes, we do have the lights and locations identified. Did you want me to read those to you?
Is that a part of our?
It is part of your.
Okay. No,
it's
you don't
on
have to read it.
page. Let's see. I can't. It's one. Is it 186? I can't tell right there. 86.
All right. And also, when does the holiday signal timing begin?
It begins on I believe it's the Black Friday, which
On that
is
day?
before Thanksgiving, and it goes till the end of the holiday season.
Okay, through New Year's, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Okay. All right. I do not have any questions. Are there any other questions?
I do
Yes,
have a
Mayor
comment.
Pro.
I don't know if our citizens have traveled Highway 5, but that new flashing yellow arrows are a great improvement. I mean, I love it. So it's easy to get into Arbor Station, and it is just on Douglas Boulevard, all up and down Highway 5. If you haven't experienced it, it really is very nice, and it has worked out great. And the improvement to the turn lane, they put in a new turn lane right there at what is the apartment complex? It used to be, okay.
Wesley Pond.
Wesley Pond. And but that has worked out great also. So I'm anxious to see now during the holidays how they, I hope, mess with those lights. But the traffic does flow very well now, and I don't see as much backup as we had before. So those flashing yellow lights are just really super great. So
that is a project that we're doing in partnership with the Georgia Department of Transportation and the county. We actually meet on it's called the RTOP program, State Route Project 5, and we do meet on it once a month, and we've met on it for the last 2 years for improvements out there. So
it's great.
It's great. It
Made
really
a difference, right?
Thank you.
Yes, Ms. Wright, if you could please email the list of signals. I didn't see it in our package. I'm sure it is here, but just for the 88. Okay, I was looking at 86. Okay.
88.
All right.
Sorry.
Thank you. Okay. If there are
them are in Chapel Hill and then Douglas Boulevard and State Route 5.
Right. Okay. Around the mall. Okay. Thank you for your comments, Ms. Wright. And if there are no comments or questions from our mayor and council, I'd like to put the item B on the consent agenda. Okay. And there are no other items under transportation, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Move on to Personnel and Organization Committee, and that's chaired by Councilmember Mike Miller.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We have, sorry. I'm sorry, Madam Mayor, we have no business tonight.
No problem. 14 is Ordinances and Intergovernmental Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember LaShun Burr Danley.
No items tonight, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. 15 is Education and Training Committee. That's chaired by Councilmember Samuel Davis.
No items tonight, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
You're welcome. Is there any other business to come before the council from council members? Okay, we'll go on to The date change?
The date change. Do we need to bring?
I believe we discussed in committee that Monday night we'll have an item with regard to rescheduling the last meeting of December and the first meeting of January.
Okay.
So that they both occur during the first week in January on
Perfect.
the Tuesday and the Thursday.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we'll go on through City Attorney, Mr. Joel Dotson.
No items tonight, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Chief Assistant City Attorney, Ms. Susan Littlefield.
No business, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Chief of Police, Chief Gary Sparks.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Mayor and Council. Saturday, November the 5th, from 11 to 3 p.m., we want to invite all the citizens and all the mayor and council out to the Douglasville Police Department, 2083 Fairburn Road. We will be having our second annual Fall Festival, where we would like for all the citizens to come out and be a part of the festivities that your police department has planned for you that day. We will have jumpy rides, slides, games. We're going to have 5 food trucks out there, and this is part of our building community trust, understanding that we are one with the community, that our community is the police and the police is the community. So we want to invite everybody to come out. We will have toucher trucks, and the sheriff department, fire department will be out as well. We have K9 demonstration. We have tours of your police department. So we're just going to have a day of just rejoicing, having fun, getting to know one another, and building our community of one. So that's this Saturday at the police department, 2083 Fairburn Road, from 11 to 3 p.m. So come out and be there. Got a big sound box, going to be playing music and food and fun.
What was that date again?
That's November the 5th, this Saturday.
This Saturday. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Chief. You had me at food trucks. That's good. Okay. We'll move on to our city manager, Ms. Marcia Hampton.
Yes, ma'am. You do have a couple committee reports in the staff report section that's going to detail about some upcoming events. But just to remind you all that the city clerk has sent some information to you about various events that we're looking for you to RSVP to. One of those is the upcoming Veterans Day Parade. If you have not mentioned to Madam Clerk, if you're going to attend or participate, please do that before you leave. That's been extended to us by West Talon with Douglas County government. Of course, you know the Douglas County government manages that parade, but we do participate, so our folks will be there working that as well. City Hall will be closed on Veterans Day, so that is a Friday of next week, so that's a 3-day weekend holiday. Also to remind you that next week, the Chamber of Commerce is honoring elected officials at their monthly luncheon. So if you plan to attend that as well, if you can stop by the desk before you leave and let the clerks know so we can make certain that you're registered. The CAC, the Cultural Arts Center, Douglasville, Douglas County, has their gala here at this facility on the 12th. If you have not purchased tickets, if you're looking to attend, if you would like to attend, please let us know. And then also for the previous events that we've had since you all have met, Chili Cook-Off, Google Gravity Games, the police department participating in Trunk or Treat, and including the career fair. Just on behalf of the staff, I'd like to say thank you all for allowing us to, one, participate in that, and hopefully citizens enjoyed that. Staff did a really good job. It's a busy week for us, and it's a busy time. As you see, the police department's also doing an event, so typically in the fall, right before Thanksgiving, we get really busy. And then we will be preparing for the holiday season as well. So with that, those are all of my reports, Madam Mayor.
Thank you so much, City Manager. Doing a great job. Thank you to you and the staff for everything that you all do. The staff reports, which probably are inclusive of all those dates, are the staff report regarding upcoming events for the first quarter of 2017, January 1st through March 31st. And Mr. Jonathan Lynn, you're going to talk to us about that?
Yes, ma'am. Jonathan Lynn, Community and Development Services Director, 6695 Church Street. Just a couple things. The city manager and I would like to make sure that we continue to keep mayor and council informed. So it's going to sound weird, about a month and a half prior to the end of a quarter, we're going to make a report of the upcoming events for the next quarter, just to kind of keep you guys aware. You know, there are going to be events that change and are fluid in nature, but we're going to try our best to make sure that you guys are informed. of everything going on. That way, if you want to be a part of them, or if there's anything you want to make sure that happened at those events, anyone that we need to notify, that we are made aware of those. Immediately, you guys will probably see, it's not the first quarter of next year, but you will see that the platform is out in front of the conference center. The Christmas tree will be installed within the next week or so at the latest. Our supplier, from what I understand from maintenance and sanitation, has gotten very popular, which is not a bad thing from him. So what they're going to do is just come out, put the tree up, test it, make sure everything works. It will not have any lights that are operational until we do the parade and tree lighting on Friday, December the 2nd. Just as another reminder, that will take place at 6:30 for the parade and 8:15 for the performance and lighting of the tree. And that will all be in front of the conference center. And that's actually going to be followed on Saturday, December the 3rd, by the Breakfast with Santa at Hunter Park from 9 to 11 that morning. There is a $5 charge to be a part of it, but it will come with breakfast that morning. So that's going on. We actually have a very simple calendar coming up for the first quarter of 2017. Mainly that's just to do with it's just the time of the year. There's going to be the construction going on Neal Plaza. Right now, the only event that we have in the works, we have an annual family reunion workshop that will take place on, it's usually in the middle of March on Saturday. We need to confirm the actual date, and I will be back before you to give you the actual date and time. It's a very popular event. We usually have giveaways, and we bring in lunch for people, and so it's usually a big event. Our new tourism program manager will take that role over when they start in a couple weeks. That being said, if I can if you can humor me for one more second, one of our, you see I have my Leadership Douglas shirt on. We had our Leadership Douglas Economic Development Day today, but our homework is to attend a city council or county commission meeting before our next meeting. So I'm actually going to put them on the spot. We have 2 members from our class that said that they're overachievers. They wanted to come tonight, so they're back here. And we also have, it looks like we have someone from the Youth Leadership Douglas class as well in the back of the room. And I do not get to count a city council meeting. I am told that I have to go to a county commission meeting, so I don't get to cheat. So just thank you very much. And if you guys have any questions, just please let me know. I didn't want to put them on the spot that much. If they would like to come up and speak, I'll be happy to introduce them.
Yeah, I'll do the citizens' comments after the staff reports. Okay. Thank you so much. Well, you're welcome, Mr. Lynn. The staff report regarding the upcoming Douglas County Community and Military Appreciation Day to be held from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the Mercer University Douglas County Regional Academic Center on Thursday, November 10th, 2016. As part of the special event, a presentation will be made to Keep Douglasville Beautiful of Mercer's contribution to the Douglasville Military Honor Garden. And I believe Ms. Chan Weeks is here to talk to us about that. So Ms. Weeks, please give your name and address for the record, and then talk to us about this great Veterans Day thing.
Madam Mayor, I'm Chan Weeks, Executive Director of Keep Douglasville Beautiful, 8578 Club Drive, Douglasville, Georgia, 30134. We have been invited to be a part of the Mercer event that is honoring the veterans in our community the day before Veterans Day, so it's Thursday, November 10th, as the Mayor stated. And they will be making a contribution to Keep Douglasville Beautiful for our Douglasville Military Honor Garden, which we are very honored to be receiving. We have not been told the amount yet, so that will be a surprise to all of us when they hand us the big check. But we're thrilled and hoping that all of you can attend. And if I'm sure that's put it on the list of your RSVPs for the city clerk. But other than that, I can try to answer some questions.
Right.
Thank you, Ms. Weeks. We appreciate it. Now we'll open the floor for comments from citizens and delegates. If there are any folks that have lasted through the entire meeting and you'd like to give comments to the mayor and council, the podium, the floor is open. We welcome you to come forward and give your name and address for the record, and you may say whatever you like to if you want to make comments. Yes, sir.
Madam Mayor, I'd just like to bring attention once again to the past week with the chili cook-off and all the activities that were going on there on the plaza. I don't think I have seen a larger turnout. I don't know how we would get a count of that, but we may be able to check to see the past winners of the amount of chili sold to see as far as the attendance. But we were very honored. Sandra was actually, I'm going to say that Sandra was the winner of the presentation because she's the one that does all the work. But lots of fun, great turnout, great weather, very mild. And I just want to give a shout out to the CAC and hope that it was as successful as it appeared to be to us.
Sir.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, if I may follow up on that.
Sir.
It was a great chili cook-off, and we had a ton of folks here. But I'd like to say thank you to our maintenance and sanitation department folks. They were working their tails off the whole time and really focused on what they were doing. And I don't think we would have had such a good event without their support and help. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. It was a beautiful day. Thank you so much. Any other comments or questions or anything anyone wants to say from the council or audience? None? Not hearing anything. If no objections, this meeting is adjourned.